It was a warm evening on July 17, 1972, when Mary Lou Bostwick stepped out of her father's weathered Ford sedan and into the fading light of a summer dusk. The 15-year-old waved a quick goodbye, her overnight bag slung over her shoulder as she made her way up the path to a friend's house in Waverly, New York. She was just 3 days shy of her 16th birthday, a milestone she'd never reach. In that fleeting moment, as her father drove away, Mary Lou vanished, swallowed by a mystery that would haunt two small towns for decades. Athens, Pennsylvania, where Mary Lou lived with her parents Gilbert and Mary and her younger siblings, was a place of quiet familiarity. Nestled along the Susquehanna River, it was a town of unlocked doors and friendly nods where the hum of daily life rarely faltered. Waverly, just across the state line, shared that same small-town charm. Mary Lou was a typical teenager of the early 70s, perhaps fond of bell-bottom jeans and the latest hits on the radio. But she carried a maturity beyond her years. With her 16th birthday approaching, she'd made a decision. She would leave school to help her parents care for her siblings. It was a plan born of duty and love, one her family had embraced. That evening, her father dropped her off at the friend's house to babysit, a task she'd likely done before. "I'll call you tomorrow," she said with a smile, her voice light with the promise of routine. He watched her disappear through the door, or so he thought, before driving back to Athens, reassured by the normalcy of it all. But normalcy shattered 3 days later on July 20th, when Mary Lou's mother arrived with a homemade cake and birthday gifts in hand. The air was thick with celebration until the residents delivered a gut punch. Mary Lou wasn't there. They claimed she'd never arrived at all. Confusion turned to dread as a startling detail emerged. Mary Lou's bag, the one she'd carried that night, was found inside the house. How could it be there if she'd never set foot inside? Had she arrived and left again unnoticed? Or had someone placed it there after the fact? The question swirled unanswered as the residents offered no explanation. For Mary Bostwick, the sight of her daughter's belongings without her daughter was a silent scream in an otherwise quiet room. Word spread quickly and the local police descended on Waverly. They searched the woods and fields that framed the town, their boots crunching through underbrush as they hunted for any sign of the missing girl. Flyers bearing Mary Lou's photo, her youthful face frozen in a hopeful smile, sprang up on telephone poles and shop windows, a desperate plea to a community reeling from the impossible. But the leads were thin, the answers elusive. The friend and their family stuck to their story. She'd never shown up. The bag remained a maddening riddle, its presence defying logic. Mary Bostwick refused to let her daughter fade into silence. She knocked on doors, her voice raw from repeating the same question. "Have you seen my girl?" She organized fundraisers, scraping together $162, a modest sum that carried the weight of her hope. "I know that if we can get the reward money up high enough, someone will come forward," she said, clinging to the belief that money might unlock the truth. Strange calls trickled in, whispers of rumors, vague claims, but nothing solid emerged. In their desperation, the Bostwicks turned to psychics, seeking answers where science failed. Yet the visions offered no clarity, only more shadows. As months stretched into years, whispers of a darker tale began to surface. Some said Mary Lou had gone to a party that night, met with violence, and been erased from the world. The rumor lingered unsubstantiated, a ghost story born of fear. Then in October 1973, another tragedy struck close to home. 16-year-old Sharon Costin vanished from Sayre, Pennsylvania, just 25 miles from Waverly. Days later, her body was found, the victim of rape and murder. The community shuddered and investigators wondered, could the cases be linked? Gerald Paul McKenna was convicted of Sharon's killing in 1974, though he swore he was innocent. During his trial, a witness, granted immunity and shrouded in anonymity, testified against him. This same individual, it was said, had been a suspect in Mary Lou's disappearance. The connection was tantalizing, a thread dangling just out of reach. Had this witness seen something that night in 1972? Or done something? McKenna's conviction was overturned in 1980, only to be reinstated later, but no evidence ever tied him, or the witness, to Mary Lou's fate. The lead fizzled, leaving more questions than answers. Time wore on, relentless and indifferent. In 1980, State Police Lieutenant Edward Bloomer insisted the case wasn't closed. "We have a lot of renewed information," he told the press, "but nothing concrete." The investigation pressed forward, chasing shadows, but Mary Lou remained lost. The once vivid hope of her return dulled into a quiet ache. Her family, battered by the years, began to accept a grim truth. She was likely gone forever. Both parents and one sibling have since passed away, their longing for closure unfulfilled. Mary Bostwick's words echoed through the decades, a mother's plea etched in time. "I just want the peace of mind to know where she is and to end this once and for all." For a while, her daughter's disappearance changed Athens and Waverly. Parents hovered closer, doors clicked shut with new locks, and the easy trust of before gave way to a cautious unease. The innocence of those towns had fractured, a wound that never fully healed. Today, Mary Lou Bostwick's case sits in the archives of the Pennsylvania State Police, an open file gathering dust yet refusing to fade. What happened on that summer evening in 1972 as a girl walked toward a house and out of sight? Did she step into a trap, a chance encounter, or something more sinister? The bag, the rumors, the fleeting link to another crime, all pieces of a puzzle with no edges. Her family, diminished but enduring, holds a fragile hope that one day the truth will surface. Until then, Mary Lou remains a name whispered in the wind, a mystery as vast and unyielding as the river that runs through the towns she once called home.